The Galactic Empire had always dismissed Earth as an irrelevant speck on the galactic map, a backwater planet teeming with an upstart species barely out of their solar cradle. Humanity, they claimed, was a race of primitives, amusing at best and inconsequential at worst. This arrogance was their first mistake. It began when the Empire's exploratory fleet, a gleaming armada of starships that stretched across the void like a river of light, stumbled upon the Sol system. Humanity, still riding high from their first steps into interstellar exploration, was initially ecstatic at the arrival of alien life. Messages of peace, greetings in dozens of Earth's languages, and carefully encrypted data packets introducing human culture were broadcast into the stars. The Empire's response was chillingly cold. Their first act was to claim Earth as an imperial territory, demanding immediate surrender of all resources and the subjugation of humanity to imperial rule. Their emissary, a tall, insectoid figure whose voice clicked and hissed with disdain, delivered the message from orbit while their fleet cast a shadow over the planet. "Your compliance is non-negotiable," it declared, its compound eyes glinting in the light of Earth's sun. "Resistance is futile. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Accept your place or face annihilation." Humanity's leaders met in a hastily convened global summit. For once, old rivalries were set aside. Presidents, premiers, monarchs, and generals from every nation deliberated on Earth's future. The alien threat was overwhelming, their technology seemingly insurmountable. But humanity had something the Empire did not anticipate: a fierce, unyielding spirit and a history of defying impossible odds. The response to the Empire's ultimatum was swift and unexpected. A single transmission was sent back to the Imperial fleet, a simple, defiant message from Earth's unified command. "This is our home. We will not bow. If you cross us, you will face the full might of humanity." The Empire laughed. Their warships descended, their weapons charged, ready to display their superiority. But as they breached the atmosphere, they found Earth's skies filled with resistance. Fighter jets, repurposed cargo ships, and hastily constructed orbital platforms lit up the heavens. They were primitive by imperial standards, but they were relentless. The battle above Earth raged for days, the skies ablaze with fire and debris. What the Empire failed to understand was that Earth was not just a planet of warriors. It was a world of inventors, strategists, and dreamers. Humanity adapted, scavenged alien tech from downed ships, and repurposed it into weapons that could turn the tide. For every ship the Empire destroyed, humanity learned, improved, and fought harder. The turning point came when Earth scientists, led by a coalition of the brightest minds from every nation, cracked the code of the Empire's advanced technology. They hacked into the alien fleet systems, disabling entire squadrons of ships and turning their weapons against them. The Empire, for the first time in centuries, tasted the sting of defeat. But humanity didn't stop there. They launched a counteroffensive, pushing the Empire's fleet back to the edge of the solar system. What began as a desperate defense became an audacious pursuit. Humanity's message was clear. They would not just survive, they would thrive. As the remnants of the Imperial fleet limped back to their territory, they carried with them stories of a species unlike any other. Earth, they realized, was not a weak backwater planet. It was a forge where the fires of adversity had tempered humanity into something extraordinary. The Empire's council convened in a towering citadel on their capital world, their pride wounded and their dominance questioned for the first time in millennia. Their deliberations were interrupted by an encrypted transmission, a signal from the Sol system. On the screen appeared a human representative, calm and composed, but with eyes that burned with the intensity of a species that had tasted victory. "You underestimated us," the representative said. "That was your first mistake. Let it be your last. Humanity does not seek conquest, but we will defend our home and our freedom with every breath, every mind, and every resource we have. Cross us again, and you will learn what it means to awaken a sleeping giant." The message ended, and silence fell over the council chamber. The Empire, once confident in their superiority, now faced a choice: to respect Earth's sovereignty or risk a war that could shake the foundations of their dominion. And so, humanity stood, not as conquerors, but as equals, their defiance echoing across the stars, a warning and a promise. The Galactic Empire did not respond immediately. Their silence stretched for weeks, then months. Humanity held its breath, preparing for the worst while fortifying its newfound unity. Governments worked together with an efficiency never seen before, pooling resources, knowledge, and manpower. The discovery of alien technology accelerated Earth's progress by decades. What once took years now happened in months. New starships capable of interstellar travel, energy shields based on reverse-engineered alien tech, and weapons powerful enough to challenge even the Empire's mightiest fleets. But humanity wasn't just preparing for defense. They were exploring. A coalition of explorers, scientists, and diplomats ventured into the void, cautiously seeking allies and knowledge about the wider galaxy. What they found astonished them. The Empire was vast, yes, but it was also fractured. Beneath its polished exterior of dominance lay a patchwork of conquered worlds, rebellious factions, and dissatisfied species. Whispers of Earth's defiance spread like wildfire. To the oppressed, humanity became a symbol of hope, a legend of a small world standing up to an empire that claimed to be invincible. The cracks in the empire widened. On distant planets, resistance movements began to rise, emboldened by Earth's example. Messages from these groups began to filter back to Earth, filled with admiration and pleas for aid. Humanity was at a crossroads. Should they extend their influence and risk becoming entangled in a galactic conflict, or should they focus on safeguarding their own world? The decision was made during a secret assembly of Earth's leaders. Captain Leon Torres, a veteran of the battle above Earth, spoke with a voice that resonated with the gathered representatives. "We didn't choose this fight," she said, her voice steady. "But the Empire brought it to our doorstep. We have a choice now, to stand alone or to stand together with those who see us as a beacon. If we help them, we don't just protect ourselves. We change the galaxy." The room fell silent. Then one by one, hands rose in agreement. Earth's first interstellar fleet, named the Beacon Armada, was launched with a dual purpose, diplomacy and liberation. Their first stop was a planet called HFY, a once thriving world reduced to servitude under Imperial rule. When Earth's ships appeared in HFY's skies, they did not arrive as conquerors. Instead, they broadcast a message in every known galactic language. To the people of HFY, we come as friends. Join us, and together we can break the Empire's chains. What followed was nothing short of a revolution. The oppressed masses of HFY rose up, supported by Earth's forces, who brought not just weapons but also strategies born from centuries of guerrilla warfare and rebellion. Within weeks, HFY was free, its people cheering as Earth's flag was raised alongside their own. But the Empire was watching. When news of HFY's liberation reached the Imperial Council, their deliberations turned to fury. The Empress herself, a being of regal and terrifying presence, issued a decree. Earth and its allies would be crushed. The full force of the Empire would descend upon them, and their insolence would serve as a warning to all. The Empire's response was swift and brutal. A fleet 10 times the size of the one sent to Earth before now approached HFY. But humanity and their newfound allies were ready. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity's ingenuity was on full display. While the Empire relied on overwhelming numbers and predictable tactics, Earth's forces used misdirection, ambushes, and sheer adaptability. The Clishan fighters, inspired by Earth's defiance, fought with a ferocity that caught the Empire off guard. For every Imperial victory, humanity and its allies struck back harder, smarter. The turning point came when Earth scientists unveiled their most daring creation yet, the Vanguard Array, a planetary defense system capable of disrupting the Empire's fleet-wide communications and nullifying their coordination. With their forces thrown into chaos, the Empire found themselves fighting a war they couldn't control. As the Imperial fleet faltered, a message was broadcast across the galaxy, originating from Earth's flagship. To all who suffer under the Empire's rule, rise. You are not alone. The time of fear is over. Together, we can forge a new galaxy, one built on freedom and unity. The call was answered. On dozens of worlds, rebellions erupted. The Empire, once unshakable, found itself stretched thin, its forces unable to contain the growing tide of resistance. Back on Earth, Captain Torres stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the stars. "This isn't just about survival anymore," she said to her crew. "We're building something greater than any of us imagined. Let's make sure it lasts." The galaxy was changing, and at its center stood humanity. A species underestimated, defiant, and unyielding. The Empire's days of dominance were numbered. A new era was dawning, one shaped by those who dared to defy the impossible. As the Galactic Empire scrambled to maintain its grip on the galaxy, humanity's influence expanded like wildfire. The Beacon Armada, bolstered by newly liberated allies, became a symbol of hope and defiance. Earth's forces, though still smaller in number than the Empire's legions, proved that strategy, innovation, and unity could triumph over sheer size. The Empire's infrastructure began to crack. Supply lines were sabotaged, fleets mutinied, and entire sectors declared their independence. Imperial governors, once feared enforcers of the Empress's will, fled their posts or joined the growing coalition against her. Humanity had not just ignited a rebellion. They had sparked a galaxy-wide revolution, but the Empress was far from defeated. On the capital world of Valthyros, deep within the Empire's core systems, the Empress convened her war council. Her advisors, once sycophants basking in her power, now stood with eyes lowered and voices trembling. The Empress, her towering figure wrapped in the shimmering black of her imperial robes, listened as her generals detailed their failures. She remained silent until the room fell still. "Humanity," she said, her voice a cold whisper that carried the weight of centuries of rule, "has become a disease. They infect our empire with their defiance, their chaos. If we do not crush them now, we will lose everything." Her advisors murmured their agreement, but one figure stepped forward, a grizzled strategist named Kale Thryn. He had studied the humans, their history, their tactics. He knew what the Empress was up against. "Your Majesty," Kale began, his voice steady despite the oppressive presence of the Empress. "Humanity thrives on adversity. They are unpredictable, adaptable. If we confront them as we have always confronted our enemies, we will fail." The Empress's eyes narrowed. "And what do you suggest, Thryn? Surrender?" "No," he replied firmly. "But we must understand them, use their strengths against them. Their alliances are fragile, held together by hope and a shared hatred of us. If we sow discord, if we turn their allies against them, we can weaken them from within." The Empress considered this. "Proceed. But if you fail, it will be your head." Thryn bowed and left, his mind already racing. He would exploit humanity's greatest strength, their diversity, by turning it into their greatest weakness. Meanwhile, the coalition led by Earth continued to grow. The liberated worlds began to unite under a new banner, one that symbolized freedom and cooperation. But the strain of managing a multi-species alliance began to show. Cultural clashes erupted, logistical challenges mounted, and old rivalries threatened to undermine their unity. Captain Leon Torres, now a key figure in the coalition, found herself mediating disputes as often as she planned military campaigns. On one occasion, a heated argument between two allied leaders, one from a water-dwelling species and another from a desert world, threatened to derail their plans to strike at a key imperial stronghold. "Enough!" Torres finally shouted, silencing the room. "We don't have the luxury of petty disputes. The Empire is counting on us to fall apart, and every moment we spend fighting each other is a victory for them. We either stand together, or we fall alone." Her words resonated, but the cracks in the alliance remained, and Thryn, from the shadows, began to exploit them. Imperial agents infiltrated the coalition, spreading rumors and planting seeds of doubt. Small acts of sabotage were blamed on allies, and trust began to erode. Earth's leadership was not blind to this. Torres and her team worked tirelessly to root out the infiltrators and strengthen the bonds between their allies. They launched a campaign of transparency, sharing intelligence openly and holding joint councils to address grievances. It was a gamble, but it paid off. The coalition began to heal, and the Empire's attempts to divide them faltered. But the war was far from over. The Empress unleashed her ultimate weapon, a fleet of planet-killer dreadnoughts, each capable of annihilating entire worlds. These monstrous ships, powered by ancient and forbidden technology, struck terror into the heart of the coalition. One by one, the Empire targeted rebellious planets, leaving devastation in its wake. Humanity responded with its own gambit. Earth's engineers, now some of the most sought-after minds in the galaxy, developed the Aegis Protocol, a system of advanced planetary shields and countermeasures capable of withstanding even the Empire's most powerful weapons. The first test of the Aegis Protocol came when the dreadnought Harbinger targeted the planet Lysara, a key stronghold in the coalition. As the massive ship descended, its weapon systems glowing with deadly energy, the coalition's fleet engaged in a desperate battle to buy time. On the surface, the Aegis Protocol was activated. The ground shook as the dreadnought fired its main weapon, a beam of energy so intense it could reduce mountains to ash. But the shield held. Cheers erupted across Lysara as the Harbinger faltered, its weapon systems overloading. In the chaos, a coalition strike team infiltrated the dreadnought, disabling its core and sending it crashing into the planet's oceans. The victory was a turning point. The coalition had proven that even the Empire's most fearsome weapons could be defeated. But the war was not without cost. Millions had perished, and the coalition's resources were stretched thin. The Empress, though wounded, remained a formidable foe. And as the galaxy held its breath, humanity prepared for the final phase of their struggle, a direct assault on Valthyros itself. The battle for the Empire's heart would decide the fate of the galaxy. Humanity, the once dismissed upstarts, stood on the precipice of victory. But they knew the final confrontation would demand everything: courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable will to defy the impossible. The stars watched as the coalition gathered its forces, ready to write the next chapter of galactic history. The coalition's fleet assembled at the edge of the Valthyros system, a sight unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships of countless shapes and sizes, human, Clishan, Valtari, and dozens of other liberated species, drifted together in perfect formation. At the heart of the armada was Earth's flagship, the Resolute Dawn, where Captain Leon Torres stood on the command bridge, her gaze fixed on the looming challenge ahead. The final assault was a gamble, a desperate play to bring an end to the Galactic Empire's reign. Valthyros was not only the Empire's capital, but also its strongest fortress. Protected by an armada of Imperial warships and a planetary defense grid unmatched in the galaxy, it was a citadel that had stood unconquered for millennia. But humanity had made a career of defying the impossible. Torres addressed the coalition via a fleet-wide broadcast, her voice carrying the weight of history. "We face an enemy that has ruled through fear for centuries," she began. "They called us weak. They mocked us. But we've shown them what unity, resilience, and determination can achieve. Today, we fight not just for freedom, but for the galaxy's future. Stand tall. Fight with everything you have. Let the Empire remember this day as the moment their tyranny ended." The fleet surged forward, diving into the heart of the Imperial defenses. The battle erupted in a symphony of chaos, plasma beams and missile trails crisscrossing the void, explosions tearing through the darkness. The Empire's fleet fought with desperation, but the coalition's unity and adaptability proved decisive. Earth's ships, equipped with the Aegis Protocol and hybridized alien technology, led the charge, carving a path through the Imperial lines. Clishan warcraft, sleek and swift, darted in and out of enemy formations, sowing confusion. Valtari cruisers, massive and bristling with firepower, anchored the offensive, absorbing enemy fire while delivering devastating counterattacks. On the surface of Valthyros, the Empress watched the battle unfold from her grand citadel. Her calm demeanor masked a storm of fury. She had underestimated humanity, and now the consequences loomed over her empire. But she had one final card to play. Deep beneath the citadel lay the Oblivion Core, an ancient artifact of immeasurable power. It was a weapon of last resort, capable of annihilating not just the coalition fleet but the entire Valthyros system. The Empress activated the device, its energy signature rippling across the galaxy. The coalition detected the activation immediately. Panic spread through the ranks, but Torres remained resolute. If we fail here, the galaxy burns. This ends now. All ships, focus fire on the Citadel. We're taking it down. As the fleet redirected its firepower, a specialized strike team led by Torres herself prepared for a daring ground assault. The team infiltrated the Citadel under heavy fire, fighting through wave after wave of Imperial forces. Torres and her squad pushed forward, every step closer to the Oblivion core. Inside the control chamber, the Empress awaited them. She stood tall, her presence commanding even in the face of defeat. "You are resilient, human," she said, her voice laced with grudging respect. "But you are too late. The core cannot be stopped." Torres leveled her weapon at the Empress. "You underestimate us, just as you always have. Surrender, and we can find another way." The Empress laughed, a cold and bitter sound. "Another way? You think the galaxy will unite without fear to guide them? Chaos will reign without the Empire." "Then let it," Torres replied. "Because freedom is worth the risk." The strike team engaged the Empress in a fierce battle. She fought with a strength and precision that seemed almost otherworldly, but Torres's determination proved unyielding. With a final, decisive blow, the Empress fell. Torres turned to the Oblivion core, its energy growing unstable. The team's engineer, a Clishan named Vake, worked furiously to dismantle it. "I can't shut it down," Vake said, panic in their voice, "but I can redirect the energy. It'll destroy the Citadel, but it'll save the fleet." "Do it," Torres ordered. The team evacuated as the core's energy surged. A massive explosion consumed the Citadel, its light visible from orbit. The coalition fleet watched as the once imposing symbol of imperial power crumbled into nothingness. The battle was over. The Empire's forces, leaderless and broken, began to surrender. Across the galaxy, news of the Empress's fall spread like wildfire. Worlds still under imperial rule rose up, overthrowing their oppressors. The Galactic Empire, once a monolith of tyranny, dissolved into history. Back on Earth, Torres stood before a crowd of cheering allies and citizens. The coalition's leaders gathered to discuss the future of the galaxy. They decided to form the Interstellar Concord, an alliance built on mutual respect and cooperation, ensuring that no empire could ever rise to dominate the stars again. As Torres looked up at the night sky, filled with stars and the promise of new beginnings, she felt a sense of peace. Humanity, once mocked and underestimated, had not only survived but had become a beacon of hope for an entire galaxy. And in the silence of space, the stars bore witness to the birth of a new era, one forged by Earth's defiance, courage, and unyielding will.